The second theory or philosophy that has been fashioned simply, frankly, assumes that what we might term the infinite essence or infinite nature of things is by its own quality and principle eternal. That everything that exists is in essence eternal. And that what we call creation is merely a manifestation, a conditioned existence arising within an eternal nature. According to this concept, creation is not the result of the dictum of an arbitrary or separate deity. Creation is a manifestation of principles that are inherent within existence itself, existence being eternal and inevitable. This attitude, this conviction, I think, held most of the better minds of the past. That at the beginning, root, or substance of all conditioned existence, as we can imagine it, whether of human beings or of suns or of solar systems or of galaxies or of cosmic chains, even of space itself, at the root and source of all of this is essence, an unconditioned nature of itself, capable of manifesting condition, but always containing within its own ineffable principle all that can be manifested from it. Thus we may say that existence moves into the production of existences, and these existences return again to existence, which continues. It was interesting to realize that some rather ancient peoples, long before the benefits of knowledge as we have them today, were able to conceive of this total existence, to conceive that it transcended time. The time was merely an expression of it, that it transcended space. Space was only a manifestation of it, and that there exists somewhere, everywhere, in the innermost and outermost parts of all things, and in all the intervals between the innermost and the outermost, one indivisible essence, one indivisible being, and that this, continuing forever, is the base material, the earth in which creation grows, and that creation itself is merely a continuing process in which the potentials of this infinite existence are gradually transformed into potencies or manifestations. Today, I believe the tendency is to assume this general concept. In the development of this concept, of course, many systems of philosophy lost sight of the idea of an ultimate deity. They lost sight of the concept of one conscious being at the source of life. Rather, they thought of an eternal being, all conscious, always. And that consciousness as we know it is as much a conditioned state of universal consciousness as bodies as we know them are conditioned states of universal substance. This general attitude seemed to provide the best foundation for the creation of a philosophic system. For systems have to be born just as beings are born, out of a primary conviction. And the primary conviction becomes the essence of that doctrine or that philosophy, which merely expands and extends it. We may term the primary conviction a premise or an hypothesis, but upon it must be built all that follows after it in terms of the detailed explanation of the processes of creation. Out of the general opinion and substance of many ancient systems, we can gain a certain basic idea of the beginnings of human thought in these matters. In both East and West, in the most ancient cultural concepts, we find, therefore, that, so to say, in the beginning, or from the beginning, or however we want to call it, throughout eternity, from that which has no beginning or end as we know it, but beginning now in the sense of fundamental, basic, that which is the source of all else, that in this kind of a beginning there was an infinite essence, infinitely diversified, spreading through all time and space as a great principle of life. That this life principle transformed what might be termed vacuum into a dynamic space area or field. This field is limitless, eternal, inevitable, and it extends not only beyond the stars as we see them, but beyond all creations of all kinds, beyond even our imagination. This is one potency, one tremendous dynamic. And this dynamic is invisible to us, beyond our comprehension, has no form or shadow by which we can see it, and in its natural and inevitable state is not even imaginable by us. Consequently, we cannot define this nature. We can only accept in terms of thoughts or in terms of words that there is this unconditioned eternal, and that in some mysterious way this is the cause that existence as we know it can exist. That existence can exist only because life exists. And life itself is one of the basic manifestations of space, of eternity. And it causes from its own nature all the living things that are dependent upon life for their existence. So we can either consider the ancient writings of the Zohar, the Kabbalah of the early Jews, or the ancient Vedic writings and particularly the Puranas of the Hindus, or the I Ching, the classic of change, the ancient book of China, or any one of many other early records. They all seemingly have admitted the same essential principle, that there was an eternity, and that this eternity is the principle which peoples and nations have gradually come to identify as God. God, therefore, is primarily abstractly the mysterious unity of eternal life. Deity is the one that permeates all. It is the one undifferentiated. It is that which is one in sense of total unity. And from this inevitable and ineffable source, all things originate.